Katrina!
The movie opens with Mitch Rapp, a cheerful young man enjoying a vacation in Spain with his girlfriend Katrina Harper. While Katrina swims in the clear blue water, Mitch gets ready to surprise her. Excited and full of love, he takes out a ring and proposes. Katrina joyfully says yes, and the two share a kiss, imagining their happy future together. Mitch then heads to the bar to get some drinks, but their joy is shattered when terrorists suddenly open fire. Hit in the leg, Mitch desperately crawls toward Katrina, shouting her name. Mitch watches in shock as Katrina is shot and killed right in front of him. 18 months later, his life is ruled by anger and a thirst for revenge. Pretending to be a jihadist online, he tracks down the terrorists, determined to find the man who murdered her. His uncontrollable rage causes trouble. He gets kicked out of gyms for hitting training partners too hard. At the shooting range, he stands out for using full auto mode, not realizing that the CIA is secretly keeping an eye on him. One night, Mitch finally receives an invitation to join the terrorist group, catching the attention of CIA Deputy Director Irene Kennedy. He travels to Libya, where masked men take him to a hidden base. When one of them removes his sunglasses, Mitch secretly slips a blade into his own. After being searched, Mitch is blindfolded and led into the compound. Inside, he comes face to face with Al-Mansour, the terrorist leader who murdered Katrina. Just as Mitch looks for a way to escape, gunfire erupts. Al-Mansour is shot, and special forces rush in, killing the terrorists. Enraged by Al-Mansour's death, Mitch loses control and stabs him multiple times until soldiers drag him away. The CIA takes him into custody and interrogates him for 30 days, learning about his painful past, including the death of his parents. Deputy Director Kennedy watches him carefully and, on the last day, reflects on his courage and determination in destroying Al-Mansour and his network. Meanwhile, Mitch, filled with regret, knows no one will ever understand what could have been. Other officials want Mitch locked up, but Kennedy sees his potential and offers him a position in the CIA. He refuses, determined to take revenge for Katrina in his own way. Realizing how strong his will is, Kennedy gives him a choice: either go to prison or work with her. Later, she discusses the situation with Director Stanfield. Stanfield expresses concern that Mitch's impulsive behavior and stubborn attitude could put the Black Ops team at risk, doubting his mental stability. Kennedy insists that Mitch has what it takes to be an agent, and Stanfield wishes her luck in convincing Hurley. When reports surfaced about missing plutonium from a Russian facility, Stanfield chose to hold off on taking action. Kennedy then brought Mitch to the Orion Training Center and told him about Hurley, a former Navy SEAA who had once served with her father. At a secluded cabin, Hurley expressed doubt about adding Mitch to the team. Kennedy defended her choice, saying Mitch's civilian mindset and lack of bad habits made him a perfect fit. After she left, Hurley directly confronted Mitch, demanding to know why he was really there. Unbothered, Mitch dares Hurley to test his abilities. The next day, during training, Hurley demonstrates his own skills and then pairs Mitch with a rookie named Victor. Their sparring session quickly escalates into a real fight. Hurley warns the recruits that if they're ever captured, they'll be treated as ghosts. Death will be their only way out. Meanwhile, at the Iranian embassy in London, Kennedy and Stanfield review intelligence showing that the stolen plutonium is being sent to Iran. Iranian officials deny any connection, and Defense Secretary Barr insists they won't violate the nuclear agreement. The meeting ends with no clear answers, but Stanfield, still suspicious, orders Kennedy to get the Orion team ready. Mitch and the other recruits go through a difficult virtual combat test meant to measure their focus and determination. They have to memorize the target's face, knowing that if they miss or accidentally hurt an innocent person, they'll receive a painful electric shock. Kennedy watched as the simulation started. Hurley chose Al-Mansour as the target, and when Mitch fired, he was immediately shocked. One by one, the other recruits gave up from the pain. Despite Hurley's insults, Mitch endured the shocks, kept shooting, and refused to fall. In Poland, a tense exchange takes place on a truck loaded with stolen plutonium. Just as the deal is about to finish, police arrive, but the buyer suddenly opens fire, killing both the officers and the seller before escaping in the chaos. At the Orion facility, Hurley reacts with concern after hearing the news. When the simulation ends, only Mitch and Victor are left standing. They enter a virtual store to locate and eliminate their target, and Victor is the first to spot him. Mitch helps take down the target and unexpectedly eliminates a dangerous woman. Soon after, Kennedy calls Hurley to ask for an update on the stolen plutonium. He shows her an image of the shooter, and she is shocked to recognize him as Ghost, a former agent believed to have died in a drone strike. With new intel revealing that Turkish arms dealer Hamdi Sharif is selling a nuclear trigger, Kennedy sees an opportunity to stop both threats at once. She orders the Orion team to head to Istanbul and requests Mitch to join the mission. To get him ready, Hurley calls Mitch into his office and reviews the footage Mitch recorded in Spain. Furious, Mitch tells Hurley to stop the video, but Hurley ignores him. The confrontation turns physical, and Hurley nearly chokes Mitch before warning him not to let his emotions take control. Soon after, Mitch, Victor, and Hurley arrive in Turkey, where they meet CIA agent Annika. Hurley briefs the team about Sharif and assigns Mitch to work with Annika as part of the mission. They secretly observe Sharif and his assistant, but acting on impulse, Mitch breaks from the plan, bumps into the assistant, and accidentally knocks over a phone. Although Mitch's reckless move provides useful information, Hurley scolds him for not following the plan. The agents decrypt the phone and discover details about Sharif's lunch meeting scheduled for the next day. Hurley assigns Victor as the lead for the mission, with Mitch and Annika providing support. The following day, Mitch and Annika take their positions across from the restaurant. When Sharif arrives with his armed guards, Hurley quickly comes up with a plan. He ambushes a lone soldier, drags him into an alley, and forces him at knife point to report a fake bombing. The other guards panic and run off, while Hurley knocks the soldier out cold. With the way clear, Mitch and Victor move into the restaurant. Inside, Sharif hands car keys to the buyer, who suddenly recognizes Victor and shoots him before turning his gun on Mitch and the nearby customers. Mitch immediately alerts Hurley, but it's too late. Victor is dead, and Sharif has already escaped. As Hurley starts to lose hope, Mitch spots Sharif trying to escape and orders his assistant to follow him. They track Sharif to an apartment, where Mitch breaks in but is attacked by guard dogs. He manages to trap them in a car and gets away. Inside the apartment, Sharif's bodyguards see him, forcing Mitch to flee again. After a fierce gunfight, Mitch defeats the guards, storms into Sharif's room, takes him down, and grabs his laptop. Back at the base, Hurley angrily scolds him for ignoring orders. Just then, Kennedy arrives, sees a news report featuring Mitch, and firmly stands by him, insisting he's part of the team. They watch Ghost escape, leaving Hurley filled with regret for ever training Mitch and vowing to stop him. With the nuclear trigger now secured, they realize they need a physicist to complete the device. From Sharif's laptop, they trace a $2 million transfer leading to Rome. There, Minister Buru meets Ghost at a secure facility and discusses their plan to recruit the physicist. Annika, Hurley, and Mitch soon arrive in Rome. Mitch questions Hurley about Victor's death, but Hurley brushes it off as part of the job. Later, Annika returns from the bank and tells them they'll be notified as soon as the physicist receives the payment. They trace the physicist to a hotel, where Mitch and Annika set up surveillance from the room next door. While Mitch watches the camera feed, Annika distracts him, and he fails to notice intruders entering and discovering the hidden camera. Chaos breaks out. Mitch kills one of the attackers, but Annika is captured. Outside, Hurley senses something is wrong and rushes in to check. Inside the hotel, Mitch and Annika are held at gunpoint as Ghost demands to know where Hurley is. Suddenly, Hurley bursts in and opens fire, forcing Ghost to flee while Mitch and Annika take down the remaining attackers. Hurley catches the escaping physicist and they bring him to a hidden location. When Mitch tries to question the man, Hurley ignores him and orders Mitch to focus on finding the bomb, telling him to clean up and regroup. Inside the hotel, Mitch and Anaka are held at gunpoint as Ghost demands Hurley's location. Hurley suddenly bursts in, opens fire, and Ghost escapes while Mitch and Anaka take down the rest. Hurley captures the fleeing physicist and brings him to a secluded area. When Mitch questions the man's identity, Hurley ignores him and orders Mitch to focus on finding the bomb and regrouping. Later, Mitch and Anaka check into a hotel. As she treats his wounds, she tells him to rest and promises they'll go after Ghost the next day. While she prepares a bath, Mitch questions her about Ghost and begins to suspect she's an Iranian agent. She insists she's CIA, reminding him he said so earlier, but Mitch remains suspicious and attacks her. Mitch forces Anaka underwater, demanding the truth, but she won't talk. Later, she is interrogated and exposed as having ties to Iranian intelligence. Hurley then decides to confront her handler, Ashani, her uncle, and an old acquaintance. Ashani reveals that Minister Buru and General Rostami hired Ghost to steal nuclear material and share critical intelligence. Ghost is now searching for another Iranian physicist to replace the one they captured. During the meeting, Ashani is killed and Hurley is shot in the leg. Kennedy arrives at the safe house and learns about Ashani's death. Mitch informs Kennedy that Hurley was meeting Ashani and insists on going after him, but she orders him to stand down. As CIA agents take Anaka away, Mitch grabs her phone and gives chase. He stops the car, knocks out the driver, and urgently tells Anaka that her handler is dead and Hurley has been captured. Hurley is trapped in a hidden nuclear lab with his arm clamped in a vise. Ghost appears, showing his scars and accusing Hurley of abandoning him, admitting he had once hoped Hurley would come back. Hurley refuses to back down, reminding Ghost that his recklessness killed 10 agents. Enraged, Ghost ties Hurley's hands above his head. Meanwhile, Anaka traces Buru's phone, leading them to Hurley's location. Desperate to save him, Mitch hijacks a car and speeds toward Buru's hideout as Ghost tortures Hurley for his team's whereabouts. When Hurley refuses to speak, Ghost rips off one of his fingernails and demands to know about the new agent. Hurley tells him Mitch is better, which only fuels Ghost's rage. He tears off another nail, shocks Hurley, then cuts his chest and burns it with a blowtorch, cursing the day he ever trusted Hurley or the U.S. Navy. Desperate, Hurley agrees to reveal Mitch's location. As Ghost approaches, Hurley bites off part of his ear in defiance. When Buru reports the bomb has been activated, Ghost kills everyone there. Hurley pleads for death, but Ghost refuses, planning something worse. Ghost keeps Hurley alive to make him see the results of his actions. Mitch and Anaka sneak in with weapons drawn and reach a locked gate only she can open. Mitch hands her his gun and sends her ahead. When 3 armed men enter the tunnel, he hides by climbing onto the ceiling. Anaka enters the lab and finds Buru dying, pleading for help. Enraged over her uncle's death, she shoots him, causing chaos. Meanwhile, Mitch races through the tunnel, kills 3 gunmen, and crashes through the gate. The crash triggers an explosion, setting off alarms and alerting Kennedy's team. Mitch finds Hurley, who warns that Ghost has started the nuclear countdown. As Mitch moves forward, he spots Ghost holding a gun to Anaka's head, starting a tense standoff. In despair, Anaka tells Mitch she wants to see her family, then tries to shoot herself with Ghost's gun. Shaken but determined, Mitch keeps chasing, killing another thug. Ghost escapes onto a boat, but Mitch jumps aboard, and they fight fiercely amid the stormy waves. Ghost taunts Mitch about his girlfriend's death, making their fight even more brutal. Meanwhile, a helicopter rescues Hurley, who immediately contacts Kennedy. They soon realize Ghost is targeting the 6th Fleet, which is quickly warned and prepares for the nuclear attack. Ghost taunts Mitch for not saving Katrina, making their fight even more violent. When Ghost lunges at him with a knife, Mitch grabs the blade and kills him in a fit of rage. Meanwhile, Hurley and Kennedy move in to disable the boat, only to realize Mitch has already taken control. Hurley refuses to leave Mitch behind and flies the helicopter toward him. He tells Mitch to drop the bomb into the ocean as the Navy prepares to fire. At the last second, Mitch releases the bomb and is pulled into the helicopter, escaping the massive explosion that leaves a huge crater behind. A massive mushroom cloud rocks the fleet, almost causing Hurley's helicopter to crash before the pilot steadies it. Overcome with guilt, Mitch says Hurley should have left him behind, but Hurley firmly replies that he never will. Weeks later, Mitch is in Dubai while Kennedy checks on the recovering Hurley. On the news, General Rostami blames the CIA for the nuclear incident and announces his bid for Iran's presidency. Mitch's disappearance suggests he's on a secret mission. When Rostami and his men step into an elevator, Mitch is already inside, waiting for them.